guys, welcome in. This is Eddie Rodriguez with the Vaulted Pistol Parlour, bringing to you today a review on the Nighthawk TRS Comp. Wanted to do a review on this one just because, kind of looking on YouTube, there's not really anything out there on this gun. I've pretty much only seen one video besides Aaron Cowan's video on the Firehawk, which does a pretty good job at explaining it, but they have done some updates to this gun that I think are due to be covered. So, without further ado, I'll show you the gun's unloaded, so you guys don't think I'm over here handling a loaded gun. So the TRS Comp kind of came to be due to the Firehawk and the sheer demand of the double stack in the Firehawk configuration. So what they did is they decided to make the same 5-inch overall length configuration with a 3.8-inch barrel. The integral compensator gets a 5-inch. But they wanted to throw in a full-length rail as well to kind of add weight to the front and also mitigate recoil. My specific model, you'll notice there's kind of some subtle differences from the traditional one you might find on the website that has the kind of circle dot pattern on the rear of the slide with no front serrations. Mine has the wide cocking serrations that you would feature on the Firehawk, and then the front, I added those on. We can cover more later on the cost of these things. And I have a DLC coating on it, which is $400 upgrade. The rose gold treatment of the barrel, which is $150. As I stated prior, the wide cocking serrations. Their state-of-the-art iOS system, which truly is amazing. I mean, I've yet to see a red dot system that's better than this thing here. So, why review this gun? I have 25,000 rounds on my Firehawk and 3,500 on this gun, and I can tell you, if you're looking for kind of a functional open gun, as I like to call them, that you can take to the range and train with and also shoot competitively if you want to, look no further. I mean, this is this is probably as good as it gets right here. You've got the 3.8-inch barrel with integral compensator that'll run factory ammunition if you want to run it. If you want to tune ammo to run smoother out of this gun, definitely would recommend it, but I get it. I mean, some people aren't set up to reload, and that's cool too, which kind of makes this gun a little more practical and beneficial, because now you don't have to load ammunition if you want to. You can just shoot whatever off-the-shelf ammo. Pistol Parlour's relationship with Nighthawk began at 2019 SHOT Show. First met our sales rep, Chris Malla. Kind of hit it off. Really was a big fan of their gun and attention to detail and quality in all their guns. Didn't matter whether I picked up a 9mm, 45, 10mm, regardless. Everything just felt like it was on bearings. I mean, you can kind of hear it just in this gun alone. And I mean, the TRSs, I mean, you can literally rack this with one finger. Part of that is because it has a light spring, but also just due to the very tight tolerances of all their guns. I mean, we're talking tighter tolerances than like a human hair in slide frame fit, barrel fit, and all that stuff. They get really extensive in terms of their quality control and how their guns are actually made. So a little background on that. We've been to Nighthawk twice now and have actually firsthand seen how they make these guns. I mean, we're talking a box of parts that doesn't go together. 20, 30 hours later is a complete gun that's all hand-fitted, beveled, serrated, checkered, everything that you can want. And that's kind of why I like Nighthawk Custom versus some other awesome brands that are out there. But you can do a lot more customization to the guns. Kind of case in point, I have a fluted barrel hood on my gun. Not everyone out there can do that. They do those by hands, and those chamferings by hand. French border, same thing. They do that all by hand. You can pick your gunsmith if you really want to. You can call them and be like, hey, I would like this individual to build my gun, and they'll do it, which I think is kind of a really cool thing you can request and do with them. This gun I had built by Brian Cheney. He's been with them since 2008. He is arguably one of their best gunsmiths. Of course, all the gunsmiths they have there are phenomenal, but being that he's been with them such a long time, I kind of wanted someone with a deep background with Nighthawk to build my gun, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park. My gun also features a machine back trigger that's stippled in the front here, because I have kind of shorter fingers. So rather than feeling like I'm reaching for the trigger, I wanted to make sure I can get a good solid purchase on the gun and still be able to pull that trigger straight back. My trigger breaks at about 2.5 pounds from the factory. It's normally 3.5 pounds, but just shooting it over time, it kind of naturally is going to go down in weight. So another one of the things I wanted to touch bases on is, as I previously mentioned, I did have a Nighthawk Firehawk that I had about 25,000 rounds through. The difference in recoil between this and the Firehawk is probably about 15% softer in this gun. And I think you can just chalk it up to the sheer fact of this has a full rail, whereas on the Firehawk it kind of ended back here. So I think that kind of acts as, you know, just a weight up front that's going to help mitigate some of that muzzle flip shot to shot. Over the course of time of being in guns, I've shot staccatos, I've had the pleasure of shooting atlases and stuff like that. I just was on the hunt of a gun of what's something that's kind of different and fits my hand really well and just shoots really, really nice. And on that hunt, you know, I encountered Nighthawk. One of the things I really, really liked about them is honestly their iOS system. The fact that it sits so deep into the slide that you can use factory hide iron sights is insane. Like, I don't really know anyone else that does that. You look at Staccato or other manufacturers and they're using suppressor height sights, and that's not a knock on them. There's nothing wrong with that, but I personally could appreciate it. The other thing that's kind of a big personal preference is I do like my rear sight in front of the optic versus behind it, just because I feel like it's not as cluttered as a display. So that was another big perk for me. One of the things I've also noticed with shooting my guns, between the Firehawk, which had a black nitride finish throughout the entirety of the gun, and this gun that has DLC as well as a titanium nitride coated barrel in rose gold, the DLC and the titanium nitride fight off carbon way better than the black nitride did. I mean, I'm 3,500 rounds in and I haven't really had to do the crazy scraping that I had to do out of my compensator like I did the nitride model. I want you to note how much flatter the Nighthawk TRS Comp is than the Springfield Operator that I'm currently shooting. The Springfield Combat Operator is already a very soft shooting gun. I would say it shoots about 20% softer than your average polymer pistol, which means, by my standards, the Nighthawk TRS Comp shoots about 60% flatter than your average polymer pistol. It's absolutely ludicrous how soft this gun shoots. So out of all the guns I've ever owned, why would I pick this gun? Because you can use it for competition, conceal carry, or from a law enforcement standpoint, a duty weapon. You can do everything with this gun if you really want to. I mean, it shoots ridiculously soft and flat shooting, which helps the shooter be that much more accurate and more trusting in their shots. It's really not that hard to conceal. A lot of people are kind of surprised that I conceal carry this gun. I will admit that magwell is huge and it's probably the hardest part to conceal out of this gun, but it's still totally feasible. And then from a competition standpoint, I shoot a loose-based USPSA steel match every week, and I'm able to trade blows with some pretty good shooters, I've got to say. And I'm an adequate shooter. I'm not the best shooter in the world by any means, but the gun does help, I will say. Good trigger and a soft shooting gun definitely makes the competitive shooting aspect of things a lot simpler. Some accolades I'd like to mention for the TRS Comp. Ballistic Magazine has a best of annually, and for the 1911 category, this won the best 1911 of 2020, as well as best overall handgun of 2020. And to me, that speaks volumes. I mean, we're talking, if you go back and find that magazine and read it, there's some heavy hitters in that, and this won it all. Like I promised I would get around to. Price point of a TRS Comp. They typically start at $45.99, single-sided safety, black nitride, stainless barrel, stainless trigger. Of course, you can personalize the gun to make it more your own, and here at the Vaulted Pistol Parlor, we can help you with that. I personally spec'd out this gun myself, worked with Chris Mall at Nighthawk to build my dream gun. And we are more than happy to facilitate that for you. One of the things I can proudly say is we're the #1 Nighthawk dealer in the state of Arizona, and we definitely have a lot of experience with them as a whole. So definitely hit us up if you're thinking about getting a TRS Comp or any Nighthawk for that matter. What is the Vaulted Pistol Parlor? We are purveyors of the finest firearms, knives, and any firearms accessories that you can find in the industry. Let us help you out with any of your future purchases. Either hit us up on the Vaulted Pistol Parlor's Instagram or www.thevaultatpistolparlour.com.